Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I created Magic and Miracles in order to help people of all walks of life understand how to really manifest. All the information for me is below. Please understand that in order to get into my coaching, you need to book a 1 hour session first. And in fact, I'm here to go over specifically what it is that you need to do to get into my coaching and who this coaching is ideal for. Okay, so if you've been kind of like listening, watching my videos, listening to my audios, and you're thinking about getting into coaching, and I get asked the same exact questions over and over again. So every so often, I feel like recording an update of sorts, a reminder, what it is that you need to do, what's available, and how it works. Okay. So now, number one, like I already mentioned, I've introduced this just recently, about a month ago, I believe, that it's mandatory now to book a 1 hour session to get into my coaching. I think it's a great way to make sure that we both understand each other. I've seen this over and over again. People get on the phone with me, or they have a Zoom session with me, the initial one, that is, and they tell me what a fan they are of mine and how much they admire me. And yet what they've taken away from my videos is not at all what I'm teaching. So everybody interprets, I really just understand that more than anything, more than ever, I should say, and more than anything, actually, also, that people just look at manifestation in the way that they've been trained to look at it. Let's just say for the masses. Okay, and I really mean no disrespect when I say this, but unfortunately, it's the very reason that I first turned my nose up at manifestation and thought it was complete bullshit. Okay, my mother, out of all people, tried to lure me in into the law of attraction land, and with Abraham Hicks, mind you. So yeah, so birds of a feather. But the thing is, I understand why, because it sounds like bullshit. Okay, so a lot of people coming in either already skeptical, having tried a lot of things, but I always say, and I stand by my words, I always am very honest. I don't care what you've done in terms of, I respect that you think that you did what you needed to do, what you thought, what somebody told you what you needed to do. I completely understand that, but also there's an element of, where you are on your journey, certainly, of course, there's an element of this, but there's also, you've never tried my coaching, because if you really did what I'm asking you to do, and that's why I don't care what what number of coaches you've been to or anything, it really does work unless you resist it. In which case, okay, either of two things are the case. Either we simply don't connect, I guess, as a coach and client, in terms of maybe approach. I may be a way too direct for some people. I've learned that early on, being on YouTube. And for those who don't know, just tuning in, I've been coaching on YouTube for 2.5 years now. And I've developed the signature program for YouTube clientele, but I've been coaching people before that of YouTube in the entertainment industry primarily. And essentially, so all kinds of people, as a rule, but my business outside YouTube is word of mouth, so I'm very lucky to have that. But so it's kind of like you have to come recommended to me kind of situation. In this case, I really actually derived a tremendous amount of pleasure to work with all sorts of people. but I did encounter people who simply cannot handle my directness. So if this is where you are, either of two things, either the place of your journey where you are right now is just not fit for my style, and that's perfectly okay. I'm not for everybody, nor am I trying to be. In fact, this is why I'm recording this, to scare those away. I'm so serious, who will fall apart at any suggestion or comment. If you're easily offended, if you're kind of like a snowflake that melts on a, with a single touch, we're not for each other. I think, I want to save you the money that you'll even invest in that one phone call, because I will never disrespect you, okay? But you will need to understand that if you're signing up for my coaching, be prepared for some truth. And sometimes truth is not so pretty. I will deliver it as softly as I can. Nevertheless, I will deliver it. Okay? And I'm not going to dance around. I'm not going to be this sugary, powdery, glittery, blonde, California style. No offense to blondes or California. But you get my point, I think, with the blueberry pie in her hand. And again, I love blueberry pie, but you get this whiff of superficiality. I am not that person. And again, no offense to blondes, okay? I don't see that. You already trained me to be a people pleaser. I really should just not pay attention. This is not what I get paid to do. I get paid to tell you the truth, and I take that fucking very seriously. Because you know why? Because when I wanted a coach some 15 years ago, like, I could not find that person who resonated with me. First of all, it wasn't so widely available, but even like, I tried therapy, going to therapy, it just was not for me. Okay, it's just, I think some people excel at it and they really need it. And parenthesis here, if you're in therapy, I'm really sorry, but you're not qualified to be in my coaching. I really want you to complete that part of the journey, which I had tried therapy, and I have to tell you, everything has a place in life. All right. So I had to check that off my list because it wasn't for me. The way that, I've gone through, and believe me, there were not cheap ones. So it's not like I didn't try. The good ones are really good. And there's that. But then again, you don't go to the good ones forever. So that's another situation. So most of what I teach is condensed research of 15 years. And some obvious tweaking along the way of the 10 years of being a coach. All of that research is condensed in the signature package, which if we are a match at our first rendezvous, at our first Zoom call, Zoom session, or a phone call, I'm expecting you to sign up by booking. Okay. Now, really quick, I know this is a little bit all over the place, but I'm going with my inspiration. It may not be immediate, so I want to manage the expectation, okay? But you are required to book that so that the next person that finishes my coaching essentially gives you the spot available. And I only have that many spots. I'm not even trying to make myself sound, something else. It's just reality, guys. I have a personal life, as you know. I have a very demanding dog. Okay, let's start with that. And I have other businesses. So, I want to deliver the highest kind of possible coaching process for you that I would have liked for myself. And so basically I created this with you in mind, like first of all, what I would have wanted to receive at that point in my life when I was desperate to find somebody who understands me, first of all, doesn't judge me. Even fucking therapists judge you. The way they look at you, it's like you have three heads, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm sorry, but it's just the fucking truth. And not to brag, but us being on the same frequency, this is why it's so important, because I'm going to be able to help you best. So make sure, in essence, we're coming kind of like full circle, make sure you do get acquainted with my material. I'm very forward. If you'll start falling apart on me, we cannot make progress. If you really, are wounded right now to the point of emotions are so strong that you cannot control yourself reasonably. Again, I sympathize more than you'll ever know. I've been there. Okay, I've been there. I've been there. I know what a painful like place that is, but understand like I am not qualified to help you. You really like when there is medical component that is necessary, whether that be medication or supervised whatever, kind of like a therapist that is in charge of you, etc., etc., like that needs to happen first. You need to get your emotions under control, and you really need to be able to take some feedback, otherwise this is not for you. So I feel like also a lot of people are confused because they're jumping to coaches because, and I understand why, like I said, I've been there as a rule, okay, with the very few exceptions, in my experience, there isn't a therapist who truly gives a shit, let's just say. And I'm truly invested in my clients. Okay, so when I'm accepting you into my coaching, I'm kind of like, I'm accepting you as my protege, you could say. I don't know what kind of, I think that's the word, where I really just look out for you. So I don't do anything halfway. So that's kind of another thing, but don't misunderstand. It's another level of, service is what it is. But, and this is why we need to make sure, I can't emphasize this enough, we are on the same page. We understand what I'm teaching in the same manner. So again, everything has a place. If you really need therapy and you are in therapy, please complete that first. You will derive so much more out of my coaching when you're ready. You don't even understand, and that in kind of like goes segues perfectly into my next point. Who succeeds in my coaching? The people who are ready to rock and roll, right? The people who are ready to dig into the painful that you've avoided or you've tried to kind of like understand and reformat in your mind, the past that really troubles you and won't let you be, in the sense that you can now consciously address the issues versus being maybe a little bit out of control with emotions. People who are ready for my feedback, who are humble, who are open, who understand that, I understand and I respect that you've done work before, but if you find yourself attracted to my style, my teachings, therefore there's something that is kind of like needs to be fulfilled within you, and you need to, it's the last kind of, as Katya said on many occasions in my lives, the final kick in the ass, the final push, the final surrender, if you will, to the final exit from your current timeline and quantum leaping to the new timeline. Like saying completely goodbye to this person who struggled on this issue or the other issue in your life. And I find that the more the person is receptive, the more smoothly the process becomes. There's no resistance. If there is resistance, either we really don't understand each other, which is why I emphasize, please get to know, watch a few videos and listen to a few audios before you make up your decision. If there's resistance, we don't understand each other, and or perhaps there's an underlying, again, issue that I am not equipped to help you with, which is, it could be something as serious as clinical depression, or just, you're not taking this seriously. I don't know. I've had that. Maybe it's just, you just want to talk about it till the end of time, but never really do anything about it. I've had that as well. I think, again, please don't misinterpret this process. I very much expect results out of you. So I'm all for, really talking about the things that really bother you still, and reprogram your mind to think about those things differently. That's changing your reality, quantum leaping to another timeline. But if upon, and that I want to emphasize also. So please don't misunderstand. I do want you to talk about it at length. I want you to uncover everything, and I want you to work it all out with me and replace it with a different feeling, right? But what I don't want you to do is to get stuck in that narrative and to simply continue on, more or less being a victim of your reality. Okay? So that I don't want you to do. That's a waste of my time, of your time. I really want to see progress. I really want you to thrive. I want you to try. I want to see you try. If you're not trying in my coaching, it's going to be oh so boring and completely wasted money, and effort and all of that kind of deal. You need to really come, I can't stress this enough, you really need to come to the table willing to put in the work. This is how you'll get the most out of it, out of me, out of the whole fucking process. People who do succeed inevitably in a very short amount of time. Now, again, I'm okay with you processing the drama, trauma, panorama and talking about it, but don't get stuck there. And most importantly, start doing the things that I'm suggesting. You're going to be good. If you need to come back and ask whatever and, explain it to me again and I don't understand, more than willing to, if you're trying. But if you're not trying, it just becomes like, why, what are we doing here kind of deal. We're not really advancing you. And I'm very much focused on the result. And I really hope that you are too. Also, don't forget that even to book the hour with me, you need to sign the coaching agreement. All right. I updated it. There's a new one since a month ago or so. You really need to read through it, understand what you're signing. The copy is available on both of my websites. The one that is attached to the YouTube store and the one directly on my website with the links down below. You can always find it under coaching agreement. You press that button where you see download and you'll be able to download a blank copy. Now, what you do with that is you print that and you sign it by hand with a pen, okay? With a pen, with indicating the date, dating it, signing it, and printing your name. You need to scan this. You can even scan it with a phone. Okay, you can look it up on YouTube, how to do that if you don't know. Listen, if I could figure it out, anybody can, right? So scan it. That's my preferred way. It takes you 3 seconds to send that to me. As a very, very, very last resort, I will accept a clear picture for that. But this you need to send me together with the payment for the first hour, okay? Everything is perfectly reasonable in the agreement. I'm just outlining what you should expect. This is quite frankly for my and your protection together. So when you get into the coaching, we discuss your schedule. The signature package affords for 3 sessions a week. I believe in this intensity at least for a month. The first initial month. Why? Because your beliefs need to really be shocked, your old beliefs, that is, your old programming, and this intensity really affords that and really plays into the whole structure of coaching, okay? So everything's recorded. That's part of the agreement as well. For you to take notes later, for me certainly to rewatch and take notes. I take a truckload of notes in my coaching, and I want to really map out your history. We first cover your history from early childhood memory all the way up until today. I really want to map out the way you think and what is the belief system at hand, what has been going on. It's your patterns. I'm looking for patterns, but more than that, there's there isn't such a thing as a small detail in my coaching. Just the tiniest detail is interesting to me. This, of course, everybody knows Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot. Yes, I'm like that. I want to know everything, and then, at some point, I will have a clear picture a few sessions into it. I mean, the first session I already know what we need to work on, but then it's a whole other thing to map out somebody's history and form a world. And the way I do it is I step into that person's shoes and I channel advice for them. So in case you didn't know, now you know, I channel for my channel and I channel for my clients. So in that sense, sometimes I re-listen to my sessions. I'm like, I don't remember saying that. So that's an interesting kind of thing. So take everything I tell you to heart. It's not just me kind of talking. It's additional kind of inspiration, if you will. If you don't believe in channeling, I don't know what else to say. Channeling is a process that a lot of people do. You know, musicians, artists, actors. Every idea you've ever had, you channeled that shit, right? I've just, become really good at it, I suppose, and it's easy for me to get into it. For the first year, maybe even longer than that, year and a half of Magic and Miracles, my notes were just the title of the audio. So that gives you maybe a couple of notes, maybe on a kind of like a really detailed oriented day, it would be like 2-3 maximum notes that would be like a few words each. Well, since then things have progressed, haven't they? So I've become a little more wordy because I realized, what people understand and they don't understand. So in essence, I'm channeling. So the other thing I wanted to address was the energy work. And I've heard this already on my channel. I've heard it all. I've heard it all, and it's really just not at all what people with fear, insecurities, and I want to just dispel it here because I joke about it, but energy work is essentially commanding energy on your behalf towards the fulfillment of your desire. And that could, entail changing people's minds, changing them entirely, or inserting a desire in their heart, whatever you will. Okay. Now, it has to be benevolent. And the reason I simply say that is because, you could do it for ill, but it's just going to boomerang right back at you. So I think it's my duty to be kind of like, this is in your best interest if you do it benevolently. So other than that, there are really no mysterious, things about it. And you're already doing it with your energy. You're just not in check. Energy work really, it's really getting control of your mind and operating intentionally on purpose. So you have your energy and you could use it in different ways, since everything is kind of made of energy, right? The subparticles and all of that, you've heard the shebang. And it's just like the whole time, it's just, 99% energy. Then shouldn't you invest some time in sharpening your tools as a manifester and investigating what already is being done on your behalf, like how your money is already being spent? Now, wouldn't you just invest it wisely, right? So it isn't witchcraft. It isn't anything in that sense distasteful or overriding somebody's will, or none of that. It's you're already doing it. I'm teaching you how to do it powerfully on purpose, with a designated end goal that's nobody's going to be able to fuck with it. Okay, so that is really powerful. And the reason why I'm so, first of all, you're very lucky, because I actually didn't teach this for at least a year and a half. I just started teaching this last year on my channel, precisely because of all the kind of, things that people might say or this and that. And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm not going to teach this, then how am I going to teach how I manifest? I'm only telling half of the fucking story. And I'm not going to be like the rest of these fucking coaches, famous or not, right? They all kind of give you I feel like half the story, either because they don't fucking know what they're talking about, or they really don't want to talk about it because it's too fucking woo-woo. Well, get used to it. This universe is fucking woo-woo. Okay? This universe does not make sense because there's serial, it's a serial universe, as Neville said, and there are parallel realities. And when you're in charge and you really see the effect of your energy going out and producing an outcome on your behalf with purpose. Yeah, all right, if you're a people pleaser, you will first, it's, the name of the game. First, you kind of like feel guilty, but it feels good to get your way. I don't care what you fucking say. So how much witchcrafty are you feeling then when you're getting your way? Is it witchcraft to get your way? I want to ask all those little tiny haters over there crawling. It's very synonymous, not for nothing, to accuse somebody of witchcraft and doing stupid shit, which implies that there's no other way, right? It's really condescending and narrow-minded, and small minds don't really reach heights. So you need to open up your horizons, okay? And ask yourself a question. What if you are against achieving your own goals? This is why you would think of someone who's promoting getting your way every single time, no matter what it looks like in 3D parenthesis here. For those of you who obsess what every minute looks like, getting your way is not witchcraft. Witchcraft is working against your fucking self your entire life. That's fucking witchcraft. And I don't want to hear that on my channel or in my direction ever fucking again. If you're saying that, you really are not educated to even, talk about things like that. At least come educated, come savvy, and then let's have a discussion. But if you just like blank slate is blanketing it into something or whatever, however they say it, putting it in the same box, better said, with some kind of weird shit. No, darling, no. It's you who has the issue, and you're projecting your fears and insecurities. You're not ready to be in charge of your reality because, underneath it, obviously, and of course, there's something you're terrified about. What will happen if you'll get your way? And that's a lot of people's problem, but don't rub your shit on other people, okay? So lastly, but certainly not least, due to what I discussed in the beginning, being that I'm not, I may not be available to as many people at one time as perhaps you'd like me to be. There's video school, all right? So it's in the YouTube store as well as on my channel. It's 12 videos. It covers my coaching program. Obviously, it's not nearly the same situation as one-on-one. But if it's, something that helps you in the most immediate future, and then you want to follow it up with some sessions with me, because it doesn't include a session, you need to purchase that separately. Maybe you have questions, maybe you just want to follow up, whatever, but it's available. And I thought you would want to know that. So if you've been thinking about at least, going in the direction of the right information, it's available, and it's you can find the links below. And lastly, I want to say, so I do recommend 2 to 3 months in my coaching. However, obviously, and of course, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own drama, trauma, panorama. So it's impossible to predict, like as a blanket statement. Here we go. I used it right this time. How much time? So as a symbolism of it, or symbolically, I say 2 to 3 months, right? 2 to 3 months in coaching, because on average, that's what it takes. But now it could take you 2 months, okay? And it could take you something like a month with the signature, meaning 3 times per week. And then you might find yourself, this, or we can have this conversation. I never want to keep you there longer than, you need to, in other words. And maybe I'll downgrade you to like twice a week. So, but everybody's story is different, okay? Some people really do need 3 months, like intensive coaching, for them to cool down, calm down, drink some chamomile tea. This is the other one, what to expect. First of all, I can bet you money if you don't resist me, okay? If you don't resist my methods, you will succeed. What I can guarantee again, if you don't resist me, your energy will cleanse. You will calm the fuck down like you've never dreamed. I don't know what it is about me. Again, I'm channeling and I'm also meditating every single time before each session. So I'm always coming like energized. Maybe it's my energy. But people tell me, they've done therapy. If you need therapy, go to therapy. This is not why I'm saying this, okay? But they've done therapy and they never felt what they felt with me. All right? I'm not fucking bragging on me. This is from my clients, and I'm not a liar. Every single thing that I've said on this channel is 100% true. So, having said that, right, I guarantee that if you pay attention, your energy will shift. You do need to come ready to also deliver certain results in the 3D, right? So if you'll take the action on certain things, and if you allow me sort of to be your advisor and to direct you and take what I have to say to heart, your whole life will turn around. But again, the only resistance that I will understand is not conscious resistance. If you're consciously resisting me, forget it, right? I mean, I think we can agree on that. Nevertheless, I've had those things, right? Where those situations where I was clearly resisted and there's very little that you could do. I mean, almost nothing. But if your resistance lies simply in that you need extra time to talk things out, I've seen that. And it helps but fucking tremendously. Again, don't misunderstand when I'm saying this, please. Okay? I am not a therapist, but how I differ from a therapist is that I'm allowed to give you feedback. So what I said in the beginning applies. Be ready for some truth. Be ready for some guidance. I will point it out to you. You will have an aha moment after another. If you're telling me the truth, if you're not misguiding me, if you're not omitting shit, which by the way makes my job very fucking difficult, because if I don't see a certain component, so to speak, that is not being introduced to me, it's almost impossible for me to help you. Side note here. So in that sense, misrepresenting things to me is really counterproductive, waste of your fucking money again, okay? If you'll take action on those things, you will succeed. And again, if you need to talk it out, and you need extra time because maybe it's been going on longer, maybe it was felt deeper, whatever it is, I've seen that the person really benefited from, again, like 2 to 3 months, just, chewing that old chewing gum until you get tired of it. And usually when you get tired of it is when you've exhausted all the pain out of that trauma panorama and you're ready to spit out the chewing gum. See, that I very much respect, not to be confused once again with somebody who just doesn't want to do anything, is not really seeking for answers, just wants to complain. Okay, not for nothing, just being authentic and truthful really allows me to help you guys to such a degree that even if you don't appreciate it today, you will appreciate it at some point. I've seen those people that came back and said, Anna, you were right. Of course I'm right. I mean, what do you want? This is what I do. But are you ready for it? And, because if I'm triggering you, then obviously there's something triggering, right? That is going on. If you're not ready, in other words, to hear the truth, it's not going to work for you. This whole shebang, just forget it. With me, no. You really need to be able to embrace certain things and be at least open. Be at least open. I can be gentle, all of that stuff. And I'm very, very patient in that sense because I understand it. But nevertheless, on the path of the truth is where you become your magical golden Buddha self. That's it. It's so, in parenthesis here, this is going to end up really long, but I really wanted to say it. There are some people sometimes that come to me that really, they don't see what's happening right before their eyes. And I will not break it to them in the beginning, but I will gently guide them towards realizing that themselves. I'm never pushing anybody to do anything. I'm showing up with my gold. If you want to take it, cash it in, learn something, good for you. It's your life. I'm just an advisor, So in that sense, I can't make you do anything. So I will gently guide you towards realizing this is abusive, this shouldn't be, or you shouldn't accept this. Your self-esteem right now may not be up to par. So if you trust my judgment and my style and the way that I coach, you should understand that one of us has it together in the situation and the other one does not. So taking offense at the truth of somebody who has it together and understands how to take you there is fruitless, because you'll end up kind of like hurting yourself. I need to, like, from your point where you find yourself today, what you want is impossible, first of all, right? On that frequency you find yourself today, what you want is impossible. So it's my job to let you see what is exactly happening on that frequency so you can level up. So by you leveling up, then you make those transitions into those timelines, into those parallel realities where you end up with your wish. But by not acknowledging what is happening right now on this fucking frequency, you ain't going nowhere. But nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. So it's impossible to cover that up with affirmations or any kind of visualizations if you aren't ready and receptive to look at what is going on. Just forget about it. So there are some times that you will see something later on if you just trust my judgment and trust that I want the best for you. I think this goes without saying. None of this is, again, if you're not authentic, if you don't trust that I have, the best at heart for you, that I've done this with thousands of people, you're, not the only one who has ever dealt with this problem. You just need to trust an expert, So if the expert tells you, you know what, I think this is what it is. I think this is what the problem is. Arguing about it is meaningless, because if I can take you through the problem and out into the parallel reality of your choosing, we're wasting our time arguing. We could be doing actual work. But again, maybe you're not ready for that. So this is what I ask. Come ready, come humble, come open. You will succeed every single time. You will shift yourself energetically. Your manifestations will start to shift. Now, parenthesis here. And this will be my last point. It has to be, because it's now very long. If you find yourself that after completing my coaching, you still need to touch some things up, that is okay. The majority of the work has been done. If you need to touch something up, polish it up, discuss something, get some advice, there's no shame in reaching out. There's shame in not doing anything about it. Okay? Sometimes you walk away from my coaching. It's a lot of fucking information. Okay? And you absorb it and you rewatch the sessions and this and that. But then now you've processed all of that, and maybe you have an additional, maybe a level up. Okay? Another level up. I've seen that. So, but what I do not want, and I already touched on this, is stagnancy, okay? Staying in the same spot. Listen, I'd rather you succeed, and I'd rather you push yourself, and yes, be ready to walk out of this coaching, revolutionizing your entire life, okay? You're asking for too little right now. And I know this because you find yourself in this position. So if you're going to do this well. There's nothing that makes me happier seeing a person's life transform within 2 to 3 months. And I would say it's a relatively short period of time, after struggling for years and years, to arrive at being able to do it so quickly. Okay? Again, if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure I covered it all, but if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to email me directly. All information is from me below. Thank you and have a wonderful week. I will record a video probably Wednesday, and Saturday we have the live. Thank you so much. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.